Forward. Halt. Left. 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 Right. Your left. 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 Right. Down, down. Down, down.
Arkansas boy with a lifelong plan took the oath like his old man, then turned around proud and shook his hand. LA kid stood right behind, took a deep breath and signed on the line, while tears streamed from his mama's eyes. They hopped right up on that Greyhound bus, swapping stories. They laughed and cussed, and they talked about the girls that they loved. They made a pact, shined up their boots, got the call before it hit the news. No clue what they were about to do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Finish This Fight podcast. It is Tuesday, 3:30 Eastern Time. I haven't seen you in a few days. What y'all been doing? Man, I've been busy. I've been working, been on some interviews. Hey, we did the OAN, One America's News interview on Friday last week. Went really well. Got a lot of exposure. I don't know, somewhere around, just on X, I think it was like 30,000 views. So we probably had, who knows, I don't know, 100,000 plus people watch it live. Went really well. We are launching today, Finish This Fight podcast. I have got with me, you know, the guy I've been talking about for the last couple of months, right? The young man that was wounded in Iraq, that we went to New York and had a chance to put him in an exoskeleton for just a couple of days, where he got a chance to walk again for the first time in almost 3 years. I brought him on. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to get down to the brass tacks. We're going to talk about some stuff. Y'all say hello to Mr. Joshua Holm. Hey, Josh, what's up, brother?
Hey, guys. How you doing? So glad to be on here with you, Glenn.
Man, it's been like a month. I miss you, man. But I kind of miss your wife a little more.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's a little prettier than me. So.
She is a little prettier, man. She really is. What's going on out in Texas? How you been?
Man, doing good. I mean, we just hot Texas, man. I mean, we're sucking up and just keep on moving on, brother. I mean,
Have you become the mayor of Mineral Wells yet? I saw you.
No. I've had many times people have asked me to take that position, and I've prayed about it, and I just feel the Lord has a different path for me, brother. So I mean, but I'm super excited what we're doing here. I mean, our project is moving forward. We're starting to get some traction and some tread. I just got my track chair. I just got a lithium battery upgrade on it. So we just got that done, and next month I'll be working with it's called Ruck Forward. I'll be speaking at an event, and will be leading the pack for a Gold Star family. But yeah, it's called Ruck Forward. It's in honor of Riley Stevens, that
Gotcha.
paid his ultimate and for our sacrifice and freedom, brother. So,
you know, I kind of came with something the other day. I was being interviewed on OAN, and this guy asked me, he said, "Glenn, tell me what really drives you?" And I popped something out of my mouth the other day that it kind of stunned me. You know, sometimes stuff will just come out and it's kind of good. And I thought about that a minute. I said, what does drive me? I said, well, you know what, Riley, I love God. I love my country. I hate what's happening. And I take a look, because I'm a combat veteran as well. I came back with all 5'4" of my body. I came back with all of it. A lot of people didn't. And here's the thing. The guys and gals that sign up and put their name on that dotted line, they've done something most people don't think about. They've given their very best to their country. They've given their youth. They've given their experience or lack even thereof. They've given their very best that they have to give of their country. And when they come back, we end up giving the bare minimum.
Yeah.
That's not right, man. And that's not acceptable. And that's not okay with me. And I guess at the end of the day, that's really what's driven me to do what we're doing together with the Finish This Fight Foundation, is we got to give more, man. And I did some research and looked into, we talked about this. You and I've talked pretty deeply. And I want to go into how you got here, but let's talk about this real quickly. With this new technology, there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 men or women that would physically qualify now. Before the new technology, you had to have that upper body strength to be able to manipulate the canes for balance.
Yeah.
Without that, having to have that ups the ante from about 10,000 to somewhere around 25, 30,000 people.
Yeah.
Let's say we wrote a check for $150,000 for 30,000 people. That number is $4.5 billion. Wow. That sounds like a lot of money, but we key that away every single day.
Yeah.
This country.
Yeah.
One day, and probably a few hours, to be truthful with you. If we wrote that check, we would put these men and women that have sacrificed so much in a position where they get a chance to walk around and stand up and do some things. So,
exactly.
What are your thoughts on that, man? You've lived it. You've been fighting these. Let's go back before we go there.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about who you are. You got involved with the military when you were pretty young. You were in like an ROTC program in school,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so so I spent 4 years in JRTC, Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, and during JROTS, man, it gave me the discipline, it gave me the core, it gave me the mentality that I'm a part of something that's making a real change, and so then when 9/11 hit, I was already in the Active Guard Reserve, AGR, and I got activated, but I hadn't finished high school yet, and so then it gave me just a sense of a taste of what it was like to be career military. And so then I decided, I want to do this. So then I got released from the reserve component, and it was quite a process. And then I got to go active duty, and that's when I decided to go artillery. And like I said, 13 Delta. I mean, they kind of fed into me with the intel gig and all that, whatever. But honestly, I'm proud to be a 13 Delta. FDC, Fire Direction Control.
It was 13 Echo when I was in. And they changed that all up because of Paladin and all that thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and they're always changing. They're always changing numbers usually and letters and all that. But the jobs pretty much stay the same. And then two, as being in combat arms, when you go over, then anybody else you have. When we were in at the time, it was all male unit. So we had no females. All females came in for support element. Fuelers, our cooks, our other things like that we would get as a support element. But we were combat arms, and being part of combat arms is the fact that you're literally in the front of the battlefield, and and artillery, we're usually behind, but yet moving forward, like I said, there was very little MPs over there. So then a lot of people, like I said, in the military, you volunteer or you be voluntold. And so I volunteered, to be a gunner because I was like, this is a place where I can literally get to see everything around me. And the way I thought of it, I said, if I'm going to take out my enemy, I want to see my enemy. I don't want to just be ducked in a little in a tank type, optical tracked vehicle where I can't see what's coming. I want to see so I can deal with it effectively. And I enjoyed it. I got to take a lot of beautiful pictures of scenery, and I made the best of every situation that I had in Iraq. I got to see the beautiful culture. I got to see the people, the women, the children, the men that were not our enemies. The men that were waving at us like we're at a parade.
Yeah.
Not everybody was our enemy, and it was hard to really tell who was.
See, and that's the challenge that you had that we didn't have. So the first Gulf War, Desert Storm, was just such a shock and awe. And the way we found out what you're talking about is not everybody wanted to fight, is everyone was forced to fight at that time.
Mm-hmm.
We would have thousands of men surrendering, holding their rifles over their head, walking towards us from as far out as you could see. Those people didn't want to fight. The ones that were really the battle-hardened fighters were the Republican Guard, and those are the ones that were decimated there in Kuwait.
Absolutely. Well, just like with us, we thought anybody that had a weapon was the enemy, but we didn't understand until we understand their culture and stuff. They were farmers. They were just trying to protect their crops. They were just trying to protect their family, and so only way they knew how to protect themselves was to have a firearm. and they also had that for protection from wild animals as well, like ravaged dogs and different coyotes and other things like that were out there, like
And
wolves and
some
stuff.
great big old lizards that would chase you down if you messed with them. Did you ever run into any of those?
We did, and then we also had these rats that we literally threw huge sandbags on, and they're just flexing like Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're like, "Hey, we got this, you can't take us out." So,
Man, y'all don't know if you've never been in the middle of a real desert, you don't know what survival looks like. I was walking across down in Saudi Arabia from one unit to the other, and didn't have any ammo with me, but I saw a lizard out there. I had a buddy of mine. I said, "Hey, watch this." I started running towards that lizard. Brother, that sucker stood up on his back legs and started running after me. And I got real girly real quick.
absolutely. Well,
Screaming, running across the desert.
Well, and I'm sure you saw the camel spiders.
Oh, yeah.
And they were huge, and bigger than my hand,
Yep.
And but what really opened my eyes to, I guess the nature aspect of it, and having to be still and be silent in that moment was seeing several broods of vipers that came through, and they're sidewinders, I mean, like you can't move because they'll just strike up and strike, and so just staying completely still. And I mean, we were during a ceasefire, and you see the sand sifting back and forth, and almost look like there's wind going. You know what I'm saying? But and you just see these things just moving. You barely even get to see them. They blend in so
Yeah,
well
the
with.
sand vipers are so
Yeah.
almost transparent.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and the thing is, I mean, that really brings scripture back into life, Glenn, where it basically, I mean, where the word of God is basically telling us that, we need to be as wise as a serpent, but as gentle as a dove.
Mhm.
And I mean, and these serpents are wise. I mean, they're running through the sand, and it's like you didn't try to run because I mean they're so fast going by you, and like you just had to become a cactus. You had to just stay right there and not move.
Mhm.
If you're in half step, you kept your foot up in the air. Almost like watching the movie Tremors. You know what I'm saying? You just no
Yeah.
vibration, no noise. But no, but really, I mean, that's what got me was joining JOTC, and then when 9/11 hit, I wanted to be active duty, and I wanted benefits for my wife and my daughter at the time. I
You
mean,
were really young when you were activated. You were
absolutely,
maybe 18.
yeah. Well, I was 17, and then by the time I went over there, I was 18. So I was 19 when I was injured in Iraq. Uh, yeah,
Let's talk about that. So you were activated, or you went full time at 18 years old.
yeah,
You were activated, and you went to war at 19.
yeah.
I was a little older. I was 23 whenever I went. So
Mhm.
those 4 years kind of make a difference. You were green, baby. You're still wet behind the ears.
Absolutely. I was trained, and one thing we did at Fort Hood is we always did war games. We were very, very seldom in the garrison. We were always in the field, doing battle AFATADs. We're doing war games. We're doing OP4, training. And so just and working a lot with counter ops. And and then the weapons that we took over there and the vehicles that we took over there and stuff, we didn't get to take because when we got to Kuwait, we were told we were going to be in Kuwait for a peacekeeping mission for about 6 months, and then return home. And we didn't spend 6 days in Kuwait before, not even having to be. We were given other vehicles. I mean, we're like our vehicles were sand tan color, and most of the vehicles they gave us to go into the surge of Iraq were unarmored. They were soft top Humvees. They were 5 tons, deuce and a halves. I mean,
OD green.
yeah, OD, most of them OD green.
Yeah,
And
you were a target, baby.
absolutely. You kind of stand out a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but really, it wasn't even the color of the vehicles that really got us. It's the fact that these vehicles we never drove. Saying we didn't do the maintenance or PMCS on these, so we don't know if these vehicles are battle tested and battle ready. But the ones that we trained with, one that we did. So I mean, really, that was a hard thing for us, but at the same time, mission comes first. Saying, and failure is not an option. Saying we're not going to fail. Saying, and you never live and fall in combat. I mean, this is a warrior ethos, but that's the thing. I mean, it's like you never accept defeat. It's like mission comes first. So when I did get hurt in war, I did not think about myself. And what I learned later on, Glenn, is that people focus on what you focus on. And in that moment, I did not focus on myself. I focused on my
Right.
team. I focused on my mission, and I focused on returning home. when the mission was complete. And I felt like the mission wasn't complete because, like I said, the first injury here I was, got hit in the blast. I got a blast in the chest.
Let's talk about that real quickly, but I want people to understand something. So you were trained as fire direction control specialist.
Yeah.
That you were in the back. Fire direction is in the back. We're part of the artillery. We're shooting over our people into the enemy. We're a long ways from a lot of rifles. We're a long ways from a lot of hand-to-hand combat. That's not what we're trained on it a little bit. See, and the reason I say we is because I was fire direction as well, so I know a little bit about it. We're trained on it a little bit, but that's not the primary mission. You know, when people think about us as a soldier and they're going to war, they think, well, you're trained in that. You're trained into that hand-to-hand combat. You're trained into rage. You're trained into, all this. That's not the case. So you were taken from a primary mission of fire direction control, being in the back, and put into a position where you were right in the thick of things.
Absolutely. Well,
you were 18 years old or 19, 18.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. 19 when I went into combat. But the thing is, really, there's so many people that were in positions that they weren't trained to do, but we have to do it. I mean, there were very few MPs. So, and same thing with EOD. I was part of what's called CAT teams. And so CAT teams, we went in with magnetic devices on our vehicles, and we're looking for explosive devices. And so we're just looking to see. And then because there was so little EOD over there that they kept that for when they found an explosive ordnance. And it needed to be taken care of. If not, everybody else is just looking around for the threat. And if we can take care of ourselves, we'll take care of ourselves, But there was very few MPs over there. It was very. So we had to start doing tactical operations and start doing what's called basically we were doing temporary checkpoints. And so basically what we'd do is we'd stop all the vehicles and we'd put a piece of chalk. We'd mark every vehicle going through. And so we had point A to point B to point C or whatever like that, or 1, 2, 3, however it was. But if one of the vehicles that came to point B did not have a mark on it from point A, we knew that vehicle did not get checked by point A. So they either came off, and so we would immediately do a seizure on that. We would definitely see that would be a threat. But like I said, that's the thing. But we went up with our guards up, and so that was what really kept us safe, was the fact that love you too, Julie. Yeah. But there's so many things that people don't understand, is that I think one of the things that kept us the safest, and while we took very little casualty, as far as, we had injuries and stuff, but we had very few casualty, was because our guards were up. We had each other's back. We were not goofing off. We were not playing around the desert. We were not sightseeing. We were not trying to have Polaroids or taking selfies. We were focused on the mission.
Right.
And when we got to Kuwait, we were still having Scud attacks. And so, we were in Mach 4 for 4 to 6 hours. And then,
isn't that miserable?
It is. You're
real quickly, Mach 4.
Yeah.
That's chemical gear, y'all. You're covered head to toe. Plus,
head to toe.
If you're at 4, you also got a gas mask on.
Absolutely. Well, and the thing is, and they gave us new canisters that did not even format for us to be able to drink with the new mask they gave us. And so it's like, and nothing really worked. And so then we were literally licking our sweat trying to figure out who's gonna take the mask off first, drawing for straws. And then when someone does it, the guy decides to be silly, and so he started flopping like a fish on the ground. And and when we found out he was messing around, we gave him a few pat on the backs, for that. But that's the thing, Glenn. It's like literally like the one thing about being out there literally is that it was the longest year of my life, but yet, it was also the shortest. When I look back on it, it went by so quick. But when I reflect on it, I've learned so much knowledge, and I brought so much healing, not just from the hurting times, because I really had to do something very selfless. And a few people can really do this and really have done this, to take ownership of it. Is I had to realize that I was injured 3 times. These were 3 different days. Mid-June. I got shot.
Let's talk about that. Now, you were put into a raid situation at that point. You were busting doors down looking for the bad guy. And again, I talk about being trained as a fire direction control specialist. Nothing wrong with it. That's a great career. Yeah. But you weren't trained to break doors down and bust that in. You get thrown into that position. Absolutely. So the first time you were injured was at night, and you were in a raid. Talk about that.
Yeah, it was the mid morning before before we pretty much had full light. And so yeah, so in a place called RPG Alley, in between Bakiba and Balad, and and it was a place. I mean, and so these were clay hut villages, and so when but the thing is, the night before we had a friendly fire, so our ROE, the rules of engagements changed, and so when the rules of engagement changed, everything changed. And I was carrying a 203, so it's a grenade launcher on the bottom, and it's an M16 on top. And I had an LBV on, so it's like a web gear, and so. And I had the old web gear on, and they wanted me to have this new web gear on, but I was comfortable with the web gear I had. So basically, my grenades were around my waist here, and then the magazines were pretty much here on the sides. But the new one actually had the grenades here, and then the ammunition right here. And I got hit center mass in my chest right here, where the sappy plates were. And I had a pewter cross on with a dog tag, and the dog tag was embedded in my chest. But so basically, what happened was, I mean, all I saw, I heard something, and but when they called all clear, I had to release the magazine, go to load ready, because they changed their ROEs. So
Uh-huh.
they said we had to see the muzzle flash of the enemy's weapon before we could even lock and load our weapon. And
Okay.
so that's how silly it was. But at the time, we were trying to work with the rules of engagement until we realized that these rules of engagements were not being tactically sound
Yeah.
for us in the field. And so then we had to go back to the survival mode, where we went to the mentality saying, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And that was a Vietnam era aspect of what they said. I'd rather have, be judged by 12 doing the right actions, and be take a crime for saving my buddy's life, or my, keeping my team alive, than to be carried by 6 pallbearers.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, and that's just the reality of it. But no, but the enemy pretty much caught me with my pants down in a way, because I mean, like, I was not ready. I was not, and all I saw was a flash, and I felt a freight train hit me in the chest. And at first, it blew me away. I really didn't know what happened at first. It happened so quick that it's almost like a flashbang. But then I felt the bang. I mean, and it felt like someone just hit me with a freight train, just popped me right in the chest. And it literally put me off my feet. But I mean, I was scared, but honestly, I was more mad than anything else, because what happened here? I mean, and then when I realized what happened, and now everything got centralized, they're like, "You're going to go home." I'm like, "No, I'm not going home." So they gave me 3 days in infirmary, and said you can no longer do do these raids, because we were working 6 hours. We were working 18 on, 6 hours off. So it's 24-hour ops. And so you're 18 on, and within the 6 hours, you are shoot, shower, shave, and trying to sleep, trying to get some to eat, and then you're back out.
Yeah.
And then
So you got hit in the
rotations.
chest, and if I
Yeah,
remember right, it was with a shotgun slug. Is that correct?
yeah, 12 gauge,
12
double
gauge
barrel
slug.
shotgun.
If y'all aren't hunters, I grew up in Oklahoma. I know a little something about something. Shotgun slug, about that big around. And if it hits you dead center, man, it's going to knock the crap out of you. It'll kill you, obviously. Go right through you. It's a shotgun slug in the hunting world is designed for deer hunting. So it absolutely will kill you. But thankfully, it hit you center mass, and you had steel plate, correct?
Sappy, yeah. I had a Kevlar plate, so they were called sappy plates.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a sappy plate in the front and one in the back. And so yeah, it hit that sappy plate. But like I said, I still had such an impact that it literally embedded my dog tag and the pewter cross underneath it in the center mass of my chest, like right here and blew my sternum apart. Like I
Dude,
didn't
how many
realize
people in this world can say they've been shot and survived? I can't. Wasn't me.
Yeah. Well,
That was number one. That was
yeah,
just number one, y'all. Look in my eyes. That was just number one.
Yep. And then number 2 was here I was back in Bakiba. I was at Camp Warhorse, is what they called it at the time. And we nicknamed it Mortar Horse because we took over 600 confirmed rounds of mortars within a 6 months period, if not more. I mean, we got hit all the time. And so I was part of the skeleton crew when I was back at the top, the Tactical Operations Center. We were there for security operations for second BCT, a 4th Infantry Division. And I served with 316 FA. And so, but I was part of headquarters. And so, but when I was back, I still had responsibilities I had to do. And so it was August 15th. And so we were taking incoming, and I was about to start heading to chow from taking a shower and stuff, and then and I just got my uniform and everything back on, and so then all of us started taking off running. And it was me and Corporal Batson. We were running. He was right behind me, and basically my legs outrun my body. And I'm in gravel, like pea gravel, and next thing I know, I mean, I fall, I face plant, and it didn't hurt falling, but all of a sudden I got peppered with dirt and just debris and just gravel, and I looked down right in front of me. Within 3 feet from me, there was a 60 millimeter grenade, not a grenade, a 60 millimeter mortar that did not explode. The tip, I see the tip was broken on it. I've got pictures of it and stuff that I keep with me, and so yeah. But it's crazy because I mean, it has a crater right there where it's at, right in front of me. But what I didn't realize that if I wouldn't have fell on my face and my legs outran my body, if I wouldn't have fell on my face, that round would have hit me, because that's how close it was. So
There is a spiritual rule there. There's a spiritual law there, baby.
Yeah, I
mean, a lot of times we think something happens that's not for our good, and we later, if he shows us, not always, but if he shows us, we're able to see where if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Absolutely. Well, and the things I can say, one of the greatest things for me to fall on my face, because I mean, like I said, I mean that's actually what saved me. Was my legs outrunning my body, and then it's like I'm losing my balance, and I fall, and when I fall, boom, that's when the impact happened. And then, like I said, but I still had gloves on, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I still got peppered, so it went through my gloves, it hit my face and my neck, you know, my chest area. Felt like I had bees stinging me right here in the neck and the chest
just
area.
From the impact of it hitting the ground.
Absolutely, yeah. I had spots all over me. I couldn't tell what was what. And shrapnel, whenever a round hits, even if the round doesn't the munition doesn't go off, the shrapnel is anything it hits. So if it's wood, it's going to be wood. It's going to be glass. It can be. I mean, so not everything is metallic. Not everything is a munition itself. And yeah, and so then I was given 2 weeks of infirmary, light duty, after I said I'm not going home. And so then I was on the very last day of September 1st. I was on the very last day of this light duty, and I had what's called crap detail. So literally, we had to burn our own waste. And so this was done outside of the point, because we didn't burn inside of our camp for the most part, because I mean, we're living there, we're sleeping there, eating there, you know, all that. So you have to, and to give everybody a reference here, so you got a 55-gallon drum that you literally cut it in half, and you pretty much have handles on the side of it, and you have a restroom that you make, you know, or you build, you know what I'm saying?
Porta potty.
Exactly, like a porta potty, but it's more like just a wooden building that we kind of engineer together, and some of them we would buy. I mean, but then we'd put a toilet seat, screw it down there, and then there you are, and you got a drum underneath it, and you drag the drums out, and you have to use JPA jet fuel, and you light it, and when you light it,
let me just throw one comment in redneck wise, so people know.
Yeah.
You do not pee in that toilet. By gosh, don't be getting caught peeing in that toilet. Only number 2, man, because the pee is going to make it hard to burn. And somebody will light you up. They've got, I don't know if y'all had this, but we had 2
piss pipes.
planted in the ground, planted in the ground with all the rock and gravel and
PVC.
all that.
Yep. At an angle. Yep. We had that too. Yeah. I mean, you're right though. I mean, but how many times do people really? I mean, yeah, but like you're right. I mean, if you got caught pissing in the toilet, I mean, you're supposed to just do number 2, and that's it.
That's it.
So
just for people that don't know how nasty the conditions really were, and you talked about coming out of a shower, brother. When I was there, I didn't have a shower for 4.5 months.
Yeah,
we didn't have the setup for that. I wish we would have, but no. So the desert is nasty. Living as an infantryman or artilleryman out in the middle of the desert is nasty. Y'all need to understand this. This is not Club Med. But go ahead. So your job now is to burn the crap.
Yeah, yep. And so here I was over the detailer burning this crap, and so when people talk about having a crappy day, I can tell you what a crappy day is. I mean, and the thing is, and when you burn this stuff, it gives off like tires. It looks like it looks blacker than my TV behind me, and it's just soot and smoke coming up. So it's a god awful smell, and then so you're covered your face and all that, and then like you said, it burns in layers. So then you burn it, and then you have to stop it because there's urine and everything in there, and you have to stir it back up, and then you have to light it up again because it burns off in layers, and it takes a long time to burn. And so you dig a hole 40, you pretty much you got a 4 foot hole there, and you're pretty much waiting for it to be done so you can just flip it over and take off. But then we started having incoming mortar rounds coming in, but I couldn't tell if it was incoming or outgoing. And I didn't want to be a big boy crying wolf. And back then in 2003, we didn't have all the alarms and everything set up because these were not permanent bases at the time. They were just temporary bases that we were setting up for our security operations and for our attack and our global missions that we had at hand. And so then, but make a long story short, I mean, like, I didn't realize that there was a threat coming. And then when I realized there was a threat, it was like, okay, now we need to do something about this. So then what happens, I had two guys with me. I told one guy to go back to the top to find out what's going on. He didn't come back. I called on a brigade net. I had a field pack on me, so I had like big backpack radio. And so I called on the field pack to cease the burning. They denied ceasing the burning. So my job was to continue to burn that everything was good. And they didn't say anything about incoming. I mean, and you don't ask things on the radio because I mean you keep those channels clear, especially on a brigade net. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I mean, I just asked to cease the burning, and they denied it. So I was like, okay, something right. But well, Clark didn't come back. So then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, well, I got this other guy. He's slower than me, even though I've been hurt. I mean, I was a physical fitness captain for 4 years in JRTC, and then I mean, and when I came into the military, I was very very fit. I played soccer, refereed soccer. I mean, so I was very fit coming to the military. So I had no issue when it comes to physical fitness.
Uh-huh.
And so every time I got the Presidential Physical Fitness Award, you know what I'm saying, with the little blue patch and everything, get to sew it on uniform, all that, 300 plus, all that. I mean, so I was a stud when it came to my battalion and stuff. And so I was very proud of my physical fitness. And honestly, I think that's a lot of how my injuries still happen. But I think the reason I was able to continue was because of how fit I was.
Right.
And so that really helped me to bounce back from that. But anyways, make a long story short. So then I realized, hey, something that's not right. And so I told him, hey, run. And as he took off running about 45 seconds to a minute, I didn't count it out, but I looked for him to be in a clear distance, and then I flipped it over, which means I just dumped the poop and I just took off running myself.
What caused you to think that something wasn't right? What happened?
I just started having an instinct that something was not right.
It wasn't explosions near you or anything like that.
So like when I could first see, I could hear the rounds going off, but when I saw the impact, I couldn't tell if the shrapnel was coming towards us or going away because we still had a lot of sandstorms coming through. So it's really, visibility is not always there. As far as good visibility. And this was the latter part of the day. So, I mean, it's starting to get dark. I mean, and so they were using the light from my fire to walk mortars into the camp.
Yeah.
And then, but something just didn't feel right. It's almost like an instinct. It's like where the hairs on the neck, standing up and just, I can't really explain exactly what it was. I mean, it wasn't like I had audible voice telling me, hey, this is not safe. It's just something felt like you need to do something about it. You can't stand around and watch it happen. And so that's why I took the action and which flipped it, took off running. And as I did, I remember going, getting through the gates. I remember running through. I remember seeing the first bunker I saw there. There's a lot of people in the bunker, and I didn't know if the enemy had eyes on. So I was like, "There's another bunker that I think would be a better fit." So I just took off running to that bunker. And before I made it to that bunker, as I ran past the latrine, I remember seeing the latrine, and as I ran past the latrine, I just passed that latrine where the port, where I pulled the tanks and everything from, and all of a sudden I feel a gust of wind. I feel like someone like hit me in my chest and threw me over to my left, and then all of a sudden I heard, and I just heard shrapnel, and I felt warmth in my leg. I didn't realize I got hit, and so I went down, and then I got back up because I heard thoop thoop thoop. I heard the hollow Pringle cans. I heard the launch of several volleys of mortars, and so I knew I had to get back up I'm not in a good place.
Yeah.
And so I got back up. Like I said, it happened so quick, Glenn. I didn't realize I got hit. I really did not realize I got hit.
Well, and
I
you know
remember,
what? Here's something other people may not understand if they've never been in a combat situation. Most of the time, fear doesn't hit you until it's over.
no,
You get this adrenaline that it's
yeah,
fight or flight kind of thing. And
absolutely,
you don't have time to be afraid. You don't have time to be
yeah,
scared. So in your
absolutely.
instance, your reactions were just get that gun back up and start running again.
Yep, yep. And so then as I take off running, like I said, I can see my bunker, but what I couldn't see is there was a hidden chamber. It's called a spider hole. And so it's basically like a bamboo and like a straw over it, but there's a fixed mortar tube in there. And so they might have like a little bamboo ladder or something to get down there. It's a fixed position where basically the enemy would go in there, these little hidden positions, and they would go and they would put off a few volleys of mortars, and it's a fixed tube, and then they would get up and they would just take off into their next little hole. And so this was before I made it to the bunker. And when I fell in that spider hole, I didn't realize. I mean, it was lights out for me. So I'm running full speed, and all I remember is I remember seeing the bunker, but I didn't wake up in the bunker. I woke up in this hole, and I had an intense headache, and I had soot and there was ash around me. But when I woke up, my head was pounding, but my legs were burning, and it almost felt like my legs were on fire. And so, but what had happened? Just give everybody reference is I'm running full speed, and as I fall, I hit my head going down with the Kevlar on. And back then, we didn't have our Kevlar completely tight on our head because it gave us excruciating headaches because the way that the web gear and everything was set up. So you had it a little bit loose where you could take it off and get that. So I want to give everybody that reference. And we had a big, it wasn't a steel pot, but we had a big heavy duty Kevlar, and it would shift back and forth, and it gave you excruciating headache if you had it too tight. And so want to
I'm
give
going to
everybody
guess
that.
it was probably the same thing we had as well. It hadn't been updated yet. And those
Oh yeah.
dadgum things were not comfortable. I get it.
No, they weren't. They weren't. I mean, the best position would be in with when you could get your neck just right. You know what I'm saying? When you're laying down, I mean,
Mhm.
once you get that right position, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, lights out. I can take a nap. I'm good to go. Sleep right there in your vehicle or anything.
Mhm.
Whenever you crash a nap. But no, but and then so I woke up, and like I said, my legs are burning, and then but like I said, people focus on you focus on, and so then I hear my name. And I look up, and I basically can see this hand trying to reach out to me, but it's kind of far down, and so then their hand can't really get to me. So then they basically put a sling of weapon down there and basically said, "Hold on," and pulled me up to a place, and then they grabbed me and got me out of the hole, took me into the medics. But like I said, you got to think about it. Just less than 2 weeks ago, I fell while running from mortar attack. So I'm still cut up from these lacerations on my face, my neck, and my chest. So I'm still peppered. And so then, and because I was combat lifesaver, and then on top of that, we had different guys that went through extra classes, and so we had combat field medics that were not certified medics, but they were there on top. It was a little bit more than just a combat lifesaver. It was like a CO class 2, combat lifesaver advanced training. And so they teach you how to do like tracheotomy. They teach you how to do tourniquets, advanced tourniquets and other things like that. Sucking chest wounds. I mean, just more stuff that. But you're only going to be there just to help out. You know what I'm saying? Until that medic is there, or until you can get them to a surgeon, or you can get them to the medevac. And so, but I mean, that's where I was. So then I saw people were injured, and I just started. I mean, like, give me. I mean, all they're gonna do is give me motion. I don't want to go home, and I already denied to go home twice. So I mean, the third time they didn't ask me, "Hey, home, you want to go home?"
Yeah, but
They
so
didn't even
here's
ask
the
me.
thing, though: your feet or your legs were broken, but they didn't diagnose that at the time.
No, they didn't. I mean, because my legs are still in my boots. I mean, like there wasn't a bone sticking out at the time, but I didn't realize these a splinter fracture. I didn't realize I had fractures in my ankles, and that the more and more that I was walking on these feet, that my legs were turning inside my body. And I didn't
Uh-huh.
realize that until I got back. And when I got back, I was in such excruciating pain. I had no pressure I could put on my feet. And so they just looked at my feet and they said, "Okay, you got flat feet pretty much." And I'm like, I had a high arch, and I could prove that because I mean the way my shoes were in basic training, you actually had that high arch.
Yeah.
circle. You have cushion, you have no cushion, or you have a high arch. And I had a high arch. I was a runner. And so depended on my feet. And then, then I got put into a unit called Med Hold, where this was before WTU existed. And so Med Hold was where they basically massed everybody together that was a failure to adapt military regulations. This was more corporal punishment type thing. These guys have done something that is illegal,
Uh-huh.
and they're being chaptered for it. Whether it be drugs, whether it be some type of crime, or something like that.
Was this back in the U.S. or was this still
Yes.
overseas?
No,
Okay,
no,
so
no.
this is after you got
Four and a half months. Yeah. So
Okay,
this is
just
4.5
after you were back
months.
home.
Yeah, so I walked on these broken legs for 4.5 months. I had ace bandages on my legs, and every single time I could, I put my legs up. My legs burned, but other than that, I'm like, I mean, this is what we're doing. We're just going to continue to push through, and we did, and I got to come home, see my wife and my daughter on leave, and I mean, I was tired. When I came home, I was tired, and I didn't want to go back, but at the same time, I also knew that I still had a mission to do. So I mean, because I could have very easily, when I came home on a leave, I was already injured all 3 times, and Crystal knew things were not right. She saw the difference in me. I was having irritable syndrome, and I mean, I was very irritable. I was very angry. But then I went back to finish the fight. So the entire time, and honestly, I remember coming back on my leave, and we had a church revival. So every single day that I was back, I went to church. And so, I mean, and I had my best uniform on, and I remember Crystal saying something to me, and she's like, "Babe, you got lipstick on your uniform." And before I got to come back home, even on the leave, for that week leave, whatever, um, they made us. They looked at our uniform and inspected us, make sure we had the best uniforms we had, and I had the best uniform I had on, Glenn. And my wife thought there was lipstick on my uniform. She didn't realize it was blood
Well,
splatter.
yeah,
Uh, but I couldn't see it. I mean, because I had dealt with so much combat and trauma, and like I said, and we had suicide bombers. We had all kinds of threats out there. We did. But I mean, really, I mean, it's all goes back to, hey, you know what? You shoot, move, communicate, overcome. And that's
yeah.
thing. You know, suck it up,
Well,
drive on, shoot, move, and communicate, adapt, and overcome.
well, Joshua, we got maybe 20 minutes left,
Yeah.
and that's a heck of a story already. But I want the folks to understand something. Your war wasn't over when you came home. You'd
Yeah.
seen the last of the mortars and explosions and getting shot and that kind of thing, but your war wasn't over. You started a 22-year battle from
Yeah.
that point on. Y'all, when he got back from overseas, from Operation Iraqi Freedom, if you will, and came back to base, is when he began his therapy, and when he began receiving some ideas that he had broken bones, that he had broken legs, that his tailbone had been splintered. His battle just began. And Josh, I want to talk about that a little bit, and then I want to show the trailer for what's just happened recently, and then maybe the last 15 minutes we're going to chat about that. But talk about what you ran into when you got home medically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So medically, like I said, I was put into a soft shoe profile, and then as I started walking more, I started having more and more pain in my joints. And so then they so, but I was on a soft shoe profile, and I had to administer a PT test, and so I supposed to walk 2 miles with soft shoes. And so as I began to take off walking on this 2 mile little exercise for physical fitness test, it was never hard before, and I didn't even make it 2 blocks, and next thing you know, I mean, I got dizzy and I fell over, and when I fell over, I tried to get back up, and it's just like it's almost like my legs weren't working right. I'm like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on here, and I tried to get myself up, and it's like I got myself partially up, and I couldn't stand, and so then somebody else kind of helped pull me up and say, hey, come on, we gotta go. I'm like, I can't stand. And so then someone thought I was messing around. So then somebody else came. 2 guys came and picked me up. And I mean, I'm not one to joke around like that. And so I couldn't stand. And so they immediately called an ambulance and said, we don't know what's going on. Maybe he twisted his ankle, what's going on like that. When they did x-rays, that's when they saw it, said, okay. And they put me in a half body cast. Like literally, I had casting all the way up my legs, all the way up. I had a belt that I had to hold on, and I was in crutches.
So
And
you've been walking around for months like this.
4.5 months. Yeah.
Nobody had ever taken an X-ray to see if there was anything really damaged.
Nope.
It took this before they did an X-ray and said, "Oh my gosh," and put you in a body cast.
Yeah, they saw my feet were swollen, but but they saw the bottom of my feet were just completely like gelled over, with inflammation and stuff. And there's like, I mean, he took a bad fall, and so that's why they put me in the soft shoe profile, because I couldn't even put pressure on my foot anymore, because I mean that's how painful it was. But I mean, like I said, I mean, I had already walked like that for 4.5 months. I mean, and that boot just becomes who you are. It's just an extension of your body, and that's the same thing like with your vest. I mean, it becomes one with you, so you become one, like with the fill pack, or with the rucksack or anything else. And so yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, you carry the extra weight, and honestly it makes you so much lighter when you take everything off. But I mean, but that's the thing. So then I got back, and I didn't realize it. And then my battle wasn't over, because right after that, my wife was 8.5 months pregnant. She wasn't feeling good, so I took her home, but I had to go sign back in and for formation, just to sign out to be able to go back home from that. So, but you have accountability formation, so I had to be at that formation to be able to sign out, to be able to go back to the doctor and be with my wife, or whatever needed to be done in that sense. So as I'm at a full way stop, and so
You're still in this half body cast, right?
I'm in a half body cast. So
okay, and you're driving.
Yeah, I take one of my crutches and I go all the way down to the floor with it, and I got gas and I got brake.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm doing. I mean, I'm just doing what I need to do, adapt and overcome. That's what that's
yeah. Well, we won't talk about what that really is, but we all know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can tell you, pride was my kryptonite. It almost killed me. I mean, the very first time when I got back from Iraq, they gave me a wheelchair, and I told my wife right there at Darnell Hospital, I'm like, you do not take that wheelchair and put it in the car. Leave that wheelchair right there. I'll get the crutches, and I'll get me in the car. And she said, "Baby, you don't supposed to be walking on these cats. I got you. Don't worry about it. We're good." And she was obedient, and she left it right there. But I didn't realize how prideful of a man I had become. I didn't realize I was so blind by my own deceit. I didn't realize the irritability that I had from as a residual of traumatic brain injury. I mean, so yeah, so then I was in a car wreck, and so then at a four-way stop, 16th and Battalion, there was a truck, a full-size truck with I think it's Dodge Ram, whatever, and it had like a full the full brush guard and everything on in front. And I'm in a 1994 Nissan Stanza, and this is a tiny little car, and AC didn't work, so my window was down, and so I stopped and I proceed to go, and I got the right of way. And so as I proceed to go, this truck doesn't even try to stop, and so he just runs the stop sign and just smashes me. Well, he going 47 miles an hour, hit me right T-bone me right in between the doors, and it hit me so hard that the passenger side seat broke, and then that there was a baby carrier in the back, and it pretty much just launched out of the vehicle. And that's how hard I got hit. But I got hit so hard, my window was down. So then the seatbelt allowed me to go this way, and then finally caught. And when the seatbelt caught, it jerked me back in, and that's when it popped the neck. And they immediately put me in a neck brace, and I was in a neck brace for several months with all that. And so we believe that's where a lot of the cervical that injury happened, and we believe the head contusion probably was part of this. We know it was the lower extremity of my back and my tailbone and stuff, but I think the neck was more of that car wreck. But because I didn't lose consciousness, they didn't really think about the TBI at the time,
right?
Until later on. And then so here we are later. So that was 2004, October 2004, and then so then I got out in June of 2005. I asked you what's called med hold. So then I ETS. So my enlistment date was up, and I got tired of them just messing around with my stuff, because I was going to be taken out of combat arms. They were going to put me into administration only. I would no longer be in the combat arms field if I decided to stay in, even just for, re-enlisting. I would no longer be deployable, or if I was going to be, just a field support, whatever it was. And so I was like, no, I'm good. I prayed about it. I felt the call of the Lord telling me to go into ministry and stuff. So I transitioned from the military and joined the ministry, and that's how it all began.
Yeah.
And then so in 2009, it was May 1st, 2009. I was shopping with my wife in HEB, and I had a cane on, I had leg braces on my legs, everything like that. And my cane was more for stability more than anything. I had leg braces, ankle braces, and knee braces, full cages on my legs and stuff. And I had them underneath my clothes because I didn't like to look like I was wounded or being. I saw being wounded was being weak. That's my perception of being wounded. It was like I'm not strong anymore. I'm weak. I'm weaker than what I was before. And there's a lot of truth to that. But I took it to a level that probably shouldn't have happened. But anyways, but I got dizzy. And my wife said she remembered. I don't remember anything from that. But my wife said she heard my cane fall, and she heard my cane hit, and then she heard a thump, and she looked over, and I guess I was face down in the floor, and I was in full convulsions, and I had lost my bowels and everything because I was having a grand mal seizure, and this is the first time that we had noticed I had seizures. But as we reference back into it, my wife would remember a lot of times that I'd be playing with the kids, and the kids would think daddy's sleeping or this, that, and the other, and realize that I was probably having Patermal seizures. I was having like these little blank stares going off and not knowing what's going on. And I mean, and these could have been very, very dangerous, but thank God there was somebody there in that knew about seizures and everything. One of the staff that worked at HEB there, and they got me help. But my wife, she didn't know better, and so she literally thought I was dying on the floor because she heard whenever someone passes that one of the last things is that their bowels release, and so she thought her husband was going to die right there on the floor. And so then I was taken by ambulance to Darnell, and as soon as they found out that I was no longer active duty, and that I was I'm a veteran now, they pretty much kicked me out of the hospital.
Uh-huh.
I mean, almost immediately. And they said, well, you got to go to the VA. So I went to the VA, and the VA had already been doing these testing on my brain and stuff like that. And they had just done a neuropsych exam not that long ago. But what we found out in 2007 that I screened positive for a traumatic brain injury. But what happened is there was a miscommunication where the doctor and on the note never put in for the appointment. So here I was in late 2008. So about a year and a half later, whatever, I get a call from the social worker of the VA telling me, like chewing me out in a way, like, hey, Mr. Holm, you didn't come to your appointment, this, that, and the other. And she started looking into her notes, and she said, no, it's not your fault. You did not know you had an appointment. You never got. They screened you positive for a TBI, but yet they
Uh-huh.
never did any follow up exam. So you were prognosed, but you were not diagnosed with having traumatic brain injury. So, anyways, in May 1st, 2009, I ended up having 2 brain hemorrhages and a stroke, and so I fell out in that store in 2008. And then, like I said, May 1st, I was making Kool-Aid with the kids, and I got dizzy, bounced my head off the countertop. I had like 3 drops of blood come out, and then so milky fluid started coming all down my face, and
Uh-huh.
inside of my head went caved in. But to my wife, I said, no, don't take me to the hospital. I'm good to go. I was very stubborn. But she did. She took me to the hospital, and
Brother,
they
I know you now. I think you're still kind of stubborn.
absolutely. One thing I realized out of all this, Glenn, is that all these things, because I realized because I wasn't complaining, that the military and the VA at times did not see there was a problem
Uh-huh.
because I was not complaining, because I was doing what the military taught me to do: suck it up, drive on, shoot, move, and communicate, adapt, and overcome. Complaining was wasn't going to give a solution. So, but like I said, people focus on what you focus on. But like guys, when you're hurting, guys, go out there and get the help you need, whether it be mentally, physically, socially, economically, spiritually. Guys, get the help you need. Whatever you listen to your body. Your body will tell you what you need and when something's wrong.
Well, you know what, brother? With that being said, this story is so important. This Finish This Fight podcast is scheduled for 1 hour, but there is no way we're getting through this thing, and y'all need to hear the rest of this. So if you're on here and you need to get off in an hour, I completely understand. But otherwise, hang tight because we're going to get into a little bit more. So, Joshua, you had a grand mal seizure. You went down. You had a brain bleed. You had a stroke.
Yeah.
What happened
Full
from
stroke.
that point? Because
So
there's your
Yep.
first experience that people need to understand. Being able to
Yeah.
walk up to that point, even if it hurt, you were able to walk. What
Yeah.
happened there?
So at that point, my whole left side was paralyzed. So I had a full stroke, and so I had what's called aphasia. So basically, heard myself speaking normally, but I was not speaking verbally, audible, where people could understand. And so that is called aphasia. And so I could hear myself speaking clearly, but I wasn't. My whole left side was paralyzed. And so at first, my whole left side was completely paralyzed. When I got out of the hospital, they made me go to a rehab, and like, but everything was outpatient. And I mean, I go here at the house. They sent an OT, a physical therapist. They start stretching out my legs, start stretching out my arm, best they could do. And but my whole left side was paralyzed. I mean, and I only regained 30% feeling in my whole left side. So even to this day, I have tingling sensation when I put my hands down my face, but I can't feel my nose. I can't feel any side of my face and my neck. And I mean, so
And
to
that's
this
been
day,
almost 16 years ago.
oh yeah, yeah. I had a full stroke, and when
Uh-huh.
I had the stroke, I had the brain bleeds and all that. I had two brain hemorrhages, and then so, but like I said, my whole left side was paralyzed, and so then I had to learn to have full range of motion by, and I told you before, I used a tennis ball, and that's why, and I manually would lift my leg up and make my leg go all the way down, my hand would go all the way down on the table, and I started using what I could use. But really, that this is where everything changed, is because I didn't realize I was having pity, and Crystal said, "Babe, if you're gonna act like a child, I'm gonna treat you like a child." She put me in the corner, and one of the greatest things she could ever done. But when she did that, she put me in timeout, guys. But when she did that, that's when I was really able to see that I had chosen a victim mindset, that I literally had chosen to be a victim. That, and so then I heard an audible voice in a mirror. I looked over, I heard a voice said, "Joshua, what do you see?" And at first I didn't like what I saw, so I looked away, didn't say a word. And then I heard a voice say again, "Joshua, what do you see?" I looked into the mirror, and it's just me. And I look in the mirror, and I don't like what I saw. So then, out of abundance of heart, the mouth speaks. I yell at the mirror and I said, "I see a victim." I pointed at it. And then I hear a whisper back. It's not me speaking. I hear the voice. "See, I see a victor." And so that's when it changed. And so then my wife said, so then we had this little timeout session, whatever. But while she was separated from me in that moment, she was done. She was completely done. This is not what I signed up for, this and the other. But God spoke to her that there's no plan B. If you're not fully committed to plan A, it's never going to work. He's going to see right through it. You're going to see right through him. And then Crystal came back and said, "Babe, I'm not going to leave you. I know you've been hurt." But she said, "You got to find purpose through your pain."
Yeah.
And that's when like a light bulb, like a light switch came on. And there was a power that I really can't describe, Glenn. And really, it was something happened later on that really, because I remember I had a hoodie on, and we had a construction company, and I was more working at the management side of it, because I couldn't really do the construction. After I had the stroke, I went back to school for real estate with specialization, and I mean, and I did as well as I could, but I mean,
Well,
I
people
had
also need to know you were in a wheelchair for about 18
absolutely,
months. The first time.
absolutely, yep, yeah. Well, I mean, that was the first time I took it home. I mean, I'd been given a wheelchair so many times before.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, when we did take it home, I wouldn't stay in it. I would try to get it back up on crutches, get myself on my braces, and and like I said, I was in a KFO brace, knee, ankle, foot orthopedic brace, and then I went to they split. There'd be a full KO brace and then a full AFO brace, because they wanted to have a disconnection from it, so it wouldn't be so much luggage going back and forth, like
Uh-huh.
lacerations. Because I mean, people gotta understand, when you're wearing a brace like this every day, and this is on your limb, this is on a savage's limb that really is not doing much good. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it doesn't work right. Like the joints are not working right. You have very weak legs. I mean, I've been not hadn't been at the time I had been knocked over by Chihuahua, by cats. I mean, they go to chalkboard and put a little mark on it. One cat, two
Yeah.
dogs. I mean,
Yeah.
but really, guys, I mean, like, I could not walk properly without that, because I mean, the back was an issue, but I want everybody to know. But after this, guys, after having that stroke and after writing that book, I I got back in the KFO brace, and then I went back from the KAFO brace, and I went from that to a full KO brace, which is a locking knee. So when I would stand up, I would manually lock the knee, so I was walking with a straight leg, and then I had a cast on my ankle. It basically like a boot cut off at the toes, and I would put that in the shoe, and that kept my ankles from rolling over, because I had no dorsiflexion, so I had no up and down motion in my foot or side to
Yeah.
side. I could lift my whole foot up. That's all I could do. But my hips weren't asleep. So when I was in the KFO braces, I got so used to walking around that I was using the hip as a 360 rotation. So I was using that to pick up the whole leg and walk. So when most people saw me walking with the KFO brace, they didn't realize that these braces weigh 11.5 pounds a piece, 22
Yeah.
pounds together. And when people, I mean, and then because everybody even therapists, they wanted me to see what I could do without the brace. And I was like, but I had no stability without the brace because the surgeries weren't going to work because I couldn't do a knee replacement because my leg has turned. And then two, I had splinter fractures in the leg. So where they would put the post in my leg was already split.
Yeah.
So it would not work. It would not work.
Joshua, I want you to hold the rest of that for just a minute because we're running on an hour. I think we're going to have a few people pop off. Before we do that, I want to show this. So, guys, the next thing I'm going to show you here is the trailer for the new upcoming mini documentary entitled "Finish This Fight: Joshua's Journey." And we had a chance to go to New York about a month ago. Check this out. I want you to see what happened.
So I had a 60 millimeter mortar that landed 3 feet in front of me. And so it didn't cook off. And so it technically, they would consider it to be a dud, but it wasn't a dud. It had a broken propeller on it. I got pictures of it. I carry with me and stuff. It's about the size of a 1.5 liter bottle. But it has kill radius about 25 meters, 20 to 25 meters. So basically, if that round would have went off, then confirmed dead would have been 20 to 25 meters. Been 31 months since I've been able to stand on even with a brace or being able to take one single step. So it's been 31 months to the day yesterday.
And then God leaned in and he said, you know what? You're going to do a foundation. You're going to be the one to help these boys and some girls, I'm sure, get to walking again, back on their feet.
It became so real when we physically came here and I physically got to see face to face to that unit. And knowing that, I mean, like I said, it's pretty much like an avatar. I mean, I felt like I, plugged in and we became one, like I was breathing with it, like, I mean, it just incredible. I mean, I can't even imagine, I can't even describe the feeling that I have. But like, it was like deep down inside of me, it's like, you know what, I felt like I can fight again. I really am able to stand again. And I'm like, I can do this.
Like, I guess the sense of pride. Like to stand tall. No matter what height you are. Not a jab at Glenn, but just to stand. Just to stand, I think is huge. We take it for granted.
Even in a serious moment like that, somebody got to make fun of my height.
I'm telling you.
And it had to be your wife, man.
Yep, she's poking the bear, man.
Poking the bear, baby. Guys, this is a QR code. It goes directly to the Give, Send, Go /Finish This Fight. You've heard some of the story already, and I'm going to show this again in a minute. You've heard a lot of his story. Up to this point, 2009, Joshua was back in a wheelchair for about 18 months. But from that point on, was able to walk with the help of these Forrest Gump steel braces. You use all these nomenclatures, and I call them Forrest Gump. If you've ever seen Forrest Gump, you're going to get an idea of what he was wearing from this point on for a good little while. Let's talk about the rest of that real quick. From 09 to, let's say, 11, I guess, is when you really were able to get up out of that wheelchair and walk with the help of these braces, right?
Yep. And then from 2000, so late 2011 to mid 2015, I was pretty much full time in either in the wheelchair when I'm resting at the house, or in between where, because I people got to understand, when you're wearing these braces every day, you're putting you have blisters that calluses begin to go around where the bands are, where everything is. I mean, you can't, I mean, it like you put your pads on every day, I'm saying you're going to start having some rubbing areas where things are getting raw, things are, and so the reality is you can't wear these things every single day, but I did. And then but at first until 2015, they had tried different things, different braces, and each single brace, I had to learn a new walking pattern. I had to learn something a little bit different on it, a little bit different balance. Maybe it's a little bit longer, maybe it's a little bit shorter, maybe it's got a stocking underneath it, a different brace, whatever it was. But in 2015, I had a gentleman, Marcus Baker. He saw me with my braces, and he saw me do like a hop with my hips. I launched myself onto a step, and he's like, "This ain't real." And so he's a veteran himself, and and my wife was doing some fitness stuff, and my son was training for this little mini mutter competition. And I told my son, I'm like, "Son, if your dad can hop on this one step, if I can do this one step for you, then I guarantee you can do every one of these." So that, because he had a lot of height difference, very short, but but Ethan did. He saw his dad do this little hop, and I mean, and people were blown away, and they're like, "Do it again." I'm like, "I don't know if I can." So then I did it again, and I launched my entire legs all the way up on a step. And this guy, he had to come and see if it was real. When he saw it was real, this guy's like, "I'm gonna do everything within my power to get you in the best braces. Period. I don't care what it takes." And he did. His brand is called Prosthetics One. His name is Marcus Baker. He's an amazing guy, veteran engineer, and prosthetist. And but he's the one that took 3 braces that I was wearing at one time to be one brace again. And it was the most sophisticated brace. And the VA adopted it, and I mean, and we were able to get this through and everything. But then the brace kept breaking, because I was too rough on the brace. I was walking every day. They're not used to people walking with these things every single day. And so I know, even with this new device that I get, I know if something's going to happen, it's going to happen with me wearing it, because I will wear it every single day.
Yes, you will, man.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
you will. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit more about that, Joshua. I got to,
Yeah.
man. So you were wearing the Forrest Gump braces for a good long time, 2011 till 22.
Yeah, 2015 is when I got a new brace, September, and then from 2015 all the way, to 2022, brother. I went through 3 sets of those braces, and those braces were not cheap, guys. I want everybody to know. I mean, once everything's said and done, you're looking at 50,000 plus.
Yeah.
Those custom braces were custom made, and like I said, the foot, I kept breaking the feet all the time. The joints. I remember one time I was bowling. We were bowling in Fort Worth with a group of friends, and so I grabbed the bowling ball, and I'm standing straight up with my straight legs, and I go walk, and I go to throw the bowling ball, and all of a sudden, literally, both the knees on both the legs completely just blew out. And
You just exploded, man.
I exploded. I mean, I had sprockets everywhere. So literally, like my friend, he got with the maintenance guy, and he was like, literally, he said he needs nuts and bolts. We got to put this guy back together.
Yeah.
So the 10 man can, you know what I'm saying? 10 man can was one of the things, because I mean, they also made squeaky noise, because I mean, like the Teflon, because I was walking so much in these things, everybody's like, "Oh, you need WD-40." They didn't understand that WD-40 would actually tear up the Teflon inside the gear inside the knee. So I had to use like lubricating oils and other things, like 3M oils and all that. I mean, but I had a lot of maintenance too on these things, and I was told that the knees were indestructible, and that they had a lifetime warranty on the knees, but I'd break the knees, I'd break the ankle joints. I mean, the cables would break.
I think we got some adventures coming here pretty soon. So let's chat a little bit more here, Josh. I want to take you into the next series. So in December of 22, here, let me just tell you guys this. He went to war in 2003. And he came home from war into the real battle. So from 2003 to 2022, he's been fighting 19 years. The injuries that he received while fighting for us. The injuries that he received while fighting for us, they don't end when he got home. It was just the beginning of the next battle. And for 22 years, he was in and out of a wheelchair, in and out of the hospital, brain bleeds, dadgum stroke, which just devastated him on the left side. Lots and lots and lots of stuff taking place. And you think, okay, well, he's doing okay, though. He's doing pretty good. But the battle wasn't over. And so you're doing your thing, man. December 21st, 2023 rolls around, and you're in your closet. You've got your Forrest Gump braces on. You're just living life. thinking things pretty normal. Things are going pretty good. They're pretty normal. What happened?
So then, I would have times where I'd be resting at the house. And so then this was one of those resting times. I mean, Crystal, we just started cleaning. And so I'm helping her organize this. She has all these candles in this closet and all this extra stuff that she has. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everyone loves to smell that closet, everything. So I'm in there and I'm just organizing one little drawer and I'm just taking little hand lotions about like this, you know what I'm saying, from Bath and Body Works. And I'm bending down, I'm grabbing the lotion, I'm turning and I'm putting them in a little drawer here. And I did that several times over. And all of a sudden I just turned and I just heard a loud pop. When I heard a loud pop, next thing I know, the hand lotion I had in my hand, I couldn't even hold on no more. And my hands go down like this. It's almost like I'm begging. You know, like I call it T-Rex syndrome. I mean, but it was like this, and I couldn't lift my arms. And next thing you know, I mean, everything became stiff, and it felt like everything just kind of swole up, and it's like someone's holding me here because all I could feel basically was this part of my head up, and everything else, I lost complete control. And so then I know that I there's no way I can stand up, so I'm leaning over in the closet, and then I pretty much just like I lay on the clothes, and I just flop over, and Crystal hears the thump. And she sees me down on the ground and she tries to move me and she hears me scream. And she's never heard me scream like that. And she said immediately, my wife knew something was not right. And I told her, I said, Crystal, I can't move. And my hands were like this. And by the time the paramedics got to me and got me out of the closet, they had to figure out how to maneuver me. I'm 5'11". So here I'm in a tiny closet, you know what I'm saying, that has maybe a 24-inch door on it, you know what I'm saying, but a little frame. And, you know, so it possibly might be a 6x6 closet, you know what I'm saying? But there's shelves in it and everything else. So there's not that much room in there. But when I laid over, I'm laid in there sideways. And so by the time the paramedics got me out, Glenn, my hands were like this. My fingertips were completely blue. My lips were blue. And they did not like the heart rate of my heart. And so they immediately decided, we're going to life flight him up to Trauma 1, up to Harris Hospital, and we're going to put him in Trauma 1 patient. And so they life flighted me up there, and that's when the neurosurgeons they looked at me and they said, "Well, about to go to surgery. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Can I walk again?" And they said, "We can't give you any guarantees." I said, "What's Plan B?" And said, "If you refuse the surgery, all we can do is put you in intensive rehab." I said, "Give me rehab." I had a 20-year injury, and here I am, very, very athletic, very, very fit, very in shape. And they're telling me that they might be able to allow me to work good. I mean, but there's no guarantees. I'm like, no, forget that. I mean, I was like, we'll look at the options later. I'm not just going to rush him for surgery. And so that's when they gave me rehab. I spent six days in intense rehabs, and then I got home, and they tried to get my legs moving, and then they brought occupational therapy in, they brought physical therapists in, and I did everything they asked me to do, and they were like, "You've done everything that we can get you to do, other than get you up and stand and walk," you know. But they got me on a pulley system, and that they created on my bed, and they had me doing 1,000 reps a day, just moving my legs back and forth, up and down, back and forth, and I did that for months, and there was no movement. And so then the therapist was like, he's like, "Look, I've trained, you know, in Poland, I trained Paralympic athletes, you know, saying, and this is what we did. I built a cage around them, and we put pulley systems, and I got them walking, you know, if they could walk." And so, but rather than being discouraged about it, I mean, I was like, you know, well, okay, here I am. I'm not going to just sit in bed. So then I got stronger and stronger. And next thing I know, here I am. My wife, she'd help me with transfers, but I mean, then other times I'm like, here I am. I'm just going to drag myself around. So I realized, yeah, I mean, I'm going to hurt in bed. I'm going to hurt in the wheelchair. I'm going to hurt, you know, getting out and doing something in life. And so that's what I started doing. And so even though I was in the wheelchair, and when I started this ranch project, I was on my feet. And I'd worked so hard, literally. I mean, there's pictures of me where people have seen my boots were literally falling off of my feet, because that's how hard I worked. I mean, I didn't stop.
You and I actually met after the final break, or the injury completed. We met after that physically, but we met before that on the phone.
Yeah.
I've known you, I don't know, not quite 3 years, but over 32 months. I know that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and then, like I said, I remember having you come to speak at Unity Field. I mean, I didn't have everything together. I mean, like I said, I mean, I felt bad because we didn't even get you a gift at the time. You know, saying, and I mean, we were trying to do what we could, you know, from this. And I remember you coming speaking, and then I saw your heart, and you started telling me about this, you know, what you want to do. You know, saying
Uh,
getting these paralyzed veterans back on their feet, and you got this country music, you know, this song that you're putting together, and all this, and then I remember the day before, you the day before, it happened, where I lost my voice.
yeah, I had
I
invited you to come and be part of the music video for the Finish
video.
This
Yep.
Fight song,
Yep.
which was actually called Soldier Strong at the time.
Yep. I remember that.
Because I'd written that after I'd done a show with General Michael Flynn, and I'd seen a Marine 7 years paralyzed stand up and walk around with the help of the older technology, the exoskeleton suit. Had to have canes to balance, but he was able to walk after being paralyzed for 7 years. Talking
Yeah.
about, man, he gets someday walking his daughter down the aisle. He can reach the top shelf for his wife, feels like a man again. I'm in the corner crying like a baby. And so out of that, I thought, well, I can do something. I can write a song. Had no idea what God really had in mind, though, my friend. Had no idea. So I invited you when we got ready to shoot the music video a few years after that show. We were doing it up near Atlanta, Georgia, a little north of Atlanta, and invited you and Crystal to come up and be part of it. And the next day, dadgummit, I want y'all to listen to this. Now, I want you to really listen to this, because we're talking about a man that has been injured 3 times, has been in a wheelchair off and on for a decade and a half or longer, is up working, walking around, neck snaps, now he's chest down paralyzed, and still smiling and still working out of a wheelchair, y'all, building a retreat for other veterans and first responders to come and heal. He's doing this from a wheelchair with a smile on his face. There's a reason he's nicknamed the Man of Steel. But then I invite him to come and be part of a music video. He's got to drive from Dallas, west of Dallas, up to north of Atlanta. He says yes. And the day after he says yes, what happened, Joshua? Here we go again, the Joshua stories, man.
So your esophagus is made about 25 centimeters from here all the way down to basically where your stomach is. It goes directly to your stomach. You have a tube there, your esophagus. And so of the 25 centimeters of a normal esophagus, I had a 19 centimeter tear, meaning in a sense I had spots all the way down here. I mean, I literally basically had a gash like that. One of the largest centimeters was 10 centimeters completely torn. And so basically what was happening is I was bleeding inside myself. So basically I had got choked on a piece of food, and which has happened hundreds of times. I've had 100 of procedures and surgeries done over the last probably over a decade. You know, I had been spitting up gulps of blood. I did not know what the blood was coming from. My wife was taking me back and forth to the hospital every single week for weeks, months, years. I mean, literally, it would happen all the time. I mean, I lived at the hospital, at the VA. I mean, everybody knew me by my name in the ER. They knew me all the trauma centers and all that, because I mean, I just couldn't hold food down. I mean, I had a lot of major GI issues there. And then, so one of the things that when they wanted to do is a long time ago, they wanted to do a procedure that did a rhinoplasty, make my face look prettier, and give me the I had deviated septums and all that, and I had sleep apnea. So they wanted to try a procedure. It's a new hydro procedure where they would basically do 4 surgeries in one day, where they would basically do they would do a jaw surgery here where they're doing LASIK on the jaws, grinding down into the bone with a laser. Then they're doing the rhinoplasty, but then they're also doing a full what's called uvulectomy, where they cut out your uvula, the little flappy thing in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
So
I had that offered to me at one time, and as a singer, I said no.
Oh yeah, it changed everything. But anyways, so here I was. I had a piece of food, boneless piece of chicken, one bite, and I had a complete block right here in mid chest. And when that happened, guys, it's like a cork. So like literally, not even my saliva can go down. Everything becomes foam, and it's like pressurizes and comes up. So I just started spitting in a cup. Well, I'm right there at the Dallas VA, and because it's still COVID procedures going on, they call the fire department, and the fire department comes. And so here you got a big old fire truck. I'm right here in the front at the valet. I mean, I'm literally 20 feet, 30 feet from the front door of the Dallas VA Medical Center, where the ER is. And so the Dallas Fire Department get there, and I was like, and they say there's going to be another 15, 20 minutes for an ambulance. And they see all this blood right there. I'm like, is there any way I can just pull pull up and you guys take me right in. I mean, you guys are medically trained. Can we just not go? Can we just bypass this and just go? I just need to go get this procedure done. And I got somewhere to go. You know, I got to speak at a conference, being the state chaplain for AMVETS, American Veteran Association at the time. And so I was like, I mean, this is it. I called my wife and said, "Hey, babe, I don't know what's going on." You know, before they got there, I called my wife. I said, I'm going to go in, just get checked out. I'm having a little bit of extra blood, everything come up. Yeah, I had spit up blood before, so it wasn't too big of a deal. It wasn't stopping. And so I didn't know, maybe I tore something on the inside. I didn't know what it was. But by the time I get to ER, they gave me the vomit bag. I've already filled 2 of these vomit bags full of blood. And I'm spitting in it. And it's just like big old bags like this, you know, full of blood. And so then they bring in the GI surgeon, and they come down just to look at me and see what's going on before they take me to the OR. And they're looking at me, and they're seeing my bag full of blood, and they're like, "How long have you been spitting out blood?" I said, "Oh, since I came in here." And I was, and it was like, "Well, that's quite a bit of blood." I said, "It's my 3rd bag." And they immediately call in for an instant chest X-ray. What they would basically do when they're going to give somebody like a cortisone shot in the back or neck or something like that, they do an X-ray on them, that instant chest X-ray. So that's what they did. They did an instant chest X-ray, and they saw the bleeding on the inside, and they immediately said, "We're going to have to take you under." So by then, when they did that, they already had me on oxygen. And I was speaking to my wife and sending her a little video, and they said, "Give me the phone." They handed me. I handed my wife the phone, and then the surgeon went to my wife and basically said, "Hey, ma'am, you need to get here fast." And basically what I found out was that I was basically bleeding from the inside out. My hematoma levels were so low that I was losing a lot of blood quickly, and they had to do emergency procedure on me. So I was not stable enough to get to the OR, so they had to do bedside surgery. And so they had to go in, basically put an epoxy and basically kind of glue what they could, clamp it all back together, whatever they could do to try to do it. And they tell my wife, if this procedure doesn't work, we're going to have to do a tracheotomy on him, and he's going to have a voice box. And so my wife prayed, and she felt God telling her that, you know, that I mean, your husband's going to be the voice of still hope. And so, I mean, that's what I already promised you, and it's going to happen. So, but next thing I know, I wake up, and when I wake up, I have no verbal ability, can't speak at all. Because when they scoped me, they scraped my larynx, and they made my vocal folds swell, and my vocal folds, they were paralyzed for a moment. And so for 33 days, even when I went to the music video, I had no verbal ability. I had to write on a tablet.
So it was 20 something days after that when you came up to 20, like 3 weeks after you were hospitalized, had that surgery, that you came to Georgia, and you called me, or you didn't call me, Crystal did. Yeah. That he wants to come. I'm like, man, y'all don't got to do that. No, we're coming. Yep, so I got an Airbnb in Woodstock, Georgia, and gave you guys the master where you could have a walk or a drive-in shower. And y'all, this sucker, right after he was about to freaking die for the umpteenth time, loaded up, couldn't talk, brought a pad and a pen to write on, and he came and became part of the music video for the song that's now called "Finish This Fight." Joshua, we had no idea when we met what we were going to be doing together.
Absolutely.
I wanted to share your story in detail for people to understand. There's about 2,000 people watching right now, something like that. Brother, I love you. And when we went to shoot this music video, it was to shine a light on somebody else. And when we got there, we found out that somebody else really is not helping veterans much anymore. And the 2 bigger companies in the United States that were supplying some exoskeletons, y'all, in 10 years, been less than 100 exoskeletons brought in to the veteran community, less than 100. Wow. And that's not okay. And so I was stunned when I found that out, because we were supposed to have some help. We were going to have an exoskeleton in the music video, but that didn't happen. And I'm just like, God, what do you want me to do? And he just leaned in and he said, son, it's okay. I want you to film a movie, and you're going to start a foundation. I said, what? He said, boy, you heard me. Quit mouthing off. I said, okay. Yes, sir. And so we began to film, and we filmed Finish This Fight, Diary of a Pissed Off American Soldier. And 90 days later, we had an hour and 53-minute full-length featured docudrama. And then the real work has started. Finish This Fight is out there at finishthisfight.us. Then we began the podcast and we began the foundation. And Joshua, we met about 2.5, 3 months ago now, I guess. We met on Zoom. There was a company that we found out coming in from France that's got next generation AI technology that self-balances this new exoskeleton, which means it's 10 years ahead of anything the U.S. has got. It no longer has the need for chains, those kind of things. Let's see if we can go back and find that part real quick, because I want folks that have been on or just coming on to see kind of where this goes back. So let's go back.
It's like an avatar. I mean, I felt like I, plugged in and we became one. Like I was breathing with it. Like I mean, it just incredible. I mean,
describe for me. That's the first time you stood up.
Yeah.
In 31 months at that time. It's been 32 months now. What was that like?
Well, it was so surreal because honestly, like at first I didn't realize what was happening, because I mean, like there was no pain. I mean, like I thought it was just going to jerk me around. I did not know. I mean, it being AI, I did not know how it was going to react to the human body and the limitations. But I mean, like it put me together. Like I remember feeling like it hugged me. I remember I felt like it just grabbed me and just squeezed me like a little pretzel. And I get up. I mean, but I'm up. But then it took a few steps to realize, oh my gosh. And then I looked down and realized I'm actually walking. Like there's steps here, and I'm standing up, and I'm looking, and I get to see above it.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
I can't even describe the feeling that I had, but like it was like deep down inside of me. It's like, you know what? I felt like I can fight again. I really am able to stand again, and I'm like I can do this.
Brother, I'm going to tell you, man. You did sound like Optimus Prime when you were standing up and walking. So there's going to be some nicknames come out of that. I'm guaranteeing that's going to take place.
Well, like I said, so we have somebody, Mary Gaither, her grandson, John Sherman. He called me the original Transformer. When I used to be on tour and stuff, I would talk about the brace, and that's when I had the braces that would before. So I was in between the other braces before the KFO brace again, like the big cages that I had before the last ones. I had the break of the brace. So then I would basically like, hey, I'll break my right ankle 4 places. So on stage, I would actually. I would bend my ankle over, and I'd go down to the knees and flex my back. I would basically do a pretzel move.
Yeah.
But I was basically, and I would always say, hey, I said, Humpty Dumpty, I mean, the king could only put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Only the king. And so that became a thing. But yeah, he called me the original Transformer. And then one of my quotes for Africa was that we are more than transformers. I mean, we are more than performers. We are transformers.
Well, man, and we got some fun that's going to come up out of this. But y'all, This is, I've been working on this project for 4 years, and Joshua's been dealing with his injuries for 22. I mean, this is a long dadgum time coming. What an amazing time to be alive. So we were able to go to New York, and you were able to be fitted for the first time into the therapy unit, the therapy suit, which is not exactly the same as the take-home model that's under FDA scrutiny right now that hopefully will be approved by the end of the year. So you said it just felt like it hugged you when you stood up. What did it feel like, brother, to take those steps, to stand and hug your smart aleck wife that makes fun of me still yet today, and to be give me Joshua. What was going through your mind, brother? What was it like?
What, like I said, it felt like I was walking on a cloud. I mean, like really, like it did not hurt. I mean, and I didn't feel my legs being stretched. I mean, I couldn't feel any of that stuff. I mean, and so, but then once I see myself in the mirror, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're actually moving, we're walking here. And when I realized that, I mean, that's when the little smile hit, man, and I just couldn't hold it back anymore. It's like, man, it's like this is incredible.
Yeah,
And I started thinking about all the things that were going to be opening up, that things I could not do. You know what I'm saying? In even a standing wheelchair, you know what I'm saying? You're still very limited. But
right.
with this suit on, it's like once this personal suit comes or whatever, then there's gonna be things I'm gonna be able to do that I couldn't. I mean, I thought doors were closed, but there's opportunities that are opening up that just blew me away.
Yeah, we're gonna release the 19-minute documentary this week. I've got it done. We've got it done. There's a couple things I want to add. I want to be able to add some places where people can donate so they can go right to it. Gathering money up is so far out of my comfort zone. Everything I've done in my life up to this point, Joshua, I've self-funded to the point where I'm out of funds. I've put over 6 figures out of my pocket in this thing in the last year. And fundraising and a nonprofit organization, all that is so new to me. And it almost feels like I'm begging. It feels really weird. I'm having to learn how to overcome that, because here's what it really is, y'all. You get to be a blessing. It's not begging for money. You get to be a blessing, not just to Joshua. I want y'all to understand something. We're not stopping with Josh. Josh is the first. This is only the beginning. We've got a goal of raising $15 million over the course of the next 18 months and helping 100 paralyzed veterans to walk again. And that's just the beginning too. They're not going to be the last. There's 30,000-ish. That number might be 40. It might be 20, but there's average 30,000-ish men and women that have given their legs in service of this country. Yeah. And you know, the VA does what the VA can do. It's not the VA's fault. They're funded or they're not.
Exactly.
From Congress and that kind of thing. But, you know, again, I say, and I told this on OAM the other night, our people that sign the dotted line, they raise their hand, they swear an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, give the very best of themselves. You know, you went to war. You went full time at 18 years old. That's your youth, baby. That's when you're most alive and seeking and living life and having dreams. And your dreams could have been shattered at 19 years old.
Yeah.
Now, because you're Joshua Holm and you've got something different, and you got something different here, and that's simply God. And I want people to be aware of something. We are in a fallen world. There's crap that's going to happen to you, especially if you're in the fight that Christ has put us in. There's going to be things come up against us. But I want you to understand something. It is not about what happens to you in this life that defines you. It's about what you do with what happens to you in this life that defines your character and places you on the path and the journey to greatness. And Joshua's journey is just starting. And we're in a position now where we're going to be able to help this young man to walk. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go here. Jump on this QR code. It goes to our GiveSendGo account, givesendgo.com/finishthisfight. It's been streaming across your screen the whole time. Give what you can give. I'm not asking you to take food off your table. I don't want you to. But here's what I want you to do. Get up off the couch. Come on. It's right here. Take a screenshot. Take a picture of it. This is the QR code. Go here now and give something. If it's $10, $50, $100, $1,000, whatever you've got that's easy for you, that you can afford, go give. And I want you to know this is not just for Joshua. This is for now on. We've got a mission in front of us. Josh, this is bigger than anything I ever dreamed in my life. And here's something I can tell you. God's word says that he will give us so much abundantly more than what we can even think or imagine. And I don't think that's just gifts. I don't think that's just money. I don't think that's just stuff. I think it's a mission as well. He will use you where he's given you talent and when you're willing to say yes.
Absolutely.
You got to be willing to say yes. He's not going to make you do it. Well, and some maybe Jonah might disagree with me. You know? But the easy way or the hard way, y'all. We've done a lot of the work. We just need some financial help. Go to givesendgo.com/finish this fight and give monthly if you can. Make it a monthly donation. We've got $140,000 now to come up with for when this model becomes FDA approved, so we can get it home, and so Joshua can test its limits. And I guarantee you that's what he's going to do. Joshua, we haven't shown it on the trailer, but when the documentary comes out, we did show it. And how did it feel to be able to get down in the push-up position and actually do some push-ups again for the first time in 31 months as well?
Well, I mean, the challenge was brought to me is that if we can figure out a way to get you down there, would you be willing to do it? I said, I guarantee you, if I have the ability to do it, I'll do it. If you get me down there, I will give everything I can. I will focus just like I've done many times over, and I did it. I mean, and yes, I mean, you better believe that suit is heavy, but guys, I wasn't pushing alone.
That suit is 220 pounds, y'all. The model for therapy, 220 pounds. He was laid down with a winch into the front leaning rest position. Oh! And he did some push-ups. He did them on fingertips.
Yep.
And he did them on
2 fingers.
2 fingers.
Yep. Bruce Lee push-ups.
You did one. You did one on the thumb only.
Yeah. Yep.
With a 220-pound exoskeleton strapped to him, guys. He did that.
So guys, don't let things limit you. And you gotta. I mean, listen. All the barriers, all the extra weights. When you balance them, you can do the impossible. But you got to focus on the things you can't do. I mean, you can do. Don't focus on the things you can't do or things that are out of your control. You know what I'm saying? We have a circle of influence and a circle of concern. And so don't get concerned on your concerns. Focus on the influences. You know, I mean, so that's what I would tell everybody. I mean, you got things all around you that are holding you down, but focus on the things that can help lift you up.
Y'all, we're going to have to let it go. We've already gone way over what I normally plan on doing, but Joshua's still got a lot more to say. So we're going to do something. September the 6th, which is a Saturday, coming up in about a little over a week and a half, we're going to be hosting a telethon on Patriot Prayer Network. September the 6th, Patriot Prayer Network, we're going to be hosting a telethon, and we're going to announce our new fundraiser that's going to go nationwide, called Walk for a Hero, Joshua's Journey. We're going to ask you for some stuff. We're going to ask you for some help. If you can't walk, then donate. If you can't donate, then share. Let's make this thing go viral. Walk for a Hero, Joshua's Journey. It's a walkathon for 28 days. Commit to how many miles you'd like to walk in a day, or how many miles you'll walk over the course of 28 days. Go out and get some sponsorship for those miles. Hit up some businesses. Ask some friends or family. Y'all, it takes more than Glenn Baker and more than Joshua Holm and more than the little team that I've got together to do this. We can't do it without your help. You know, a lot of people complain, and I've seen it a lot on social media. Well, how come we let veterans live in the streets? And how come we can't help our veterans that are paralyzed to do more? And how come we can't? We can't control the government immediately. We've got some things that are going in our direction in the government, but it takes time. The one thing that we can do that doesn't take any time is just to make a decision right here and get up off the couch and do something. So we're looking you in the eye. We're asking you, get up off the couch and do something, whether it's donate, whether it's walk, whether it's share this stuff everywhere, whether it's making a Walk for a Hero video on TikTok. We're going to make that sucker go viral. We're going to do some stuff that's going to be eye-opening, and people are going to pay attention, but we need your help. So September the 6th, be watching on the Patriot Prayer Network. We're going to have a telethon. Got some pretty cool people, looks like, going to take part in it. And Josh is going to get a chance to tell more of his story at that time. The suit should be FDA approved this year, we're hoping, if not early next year. So we've got about 4 or 5 months to come up with $150,000. And here's the real truth. That number should be 1.5 million, because we need to do 10 of these this year and another 90 next year. It's not a lot of money when in the grand scheme of things. It might be a lot for me, might be a lot for you, but it's not for all of us together.
Yeah.
We need your help. Go givesendgo.com/finish is fine. Go there now. Make a gift. And if you can't make a gift, share this podcast with everybody that you can. Subscribe on X at Glenn Baker Band. Subscribe on YouTube at Glenn Baker Band. Go check out Joshua Holm. Make sure he's the real dude. Go to themanofsteel.com. Themanofsteel.com. Go to steelhope.org. That's their foundation. Check him out. Make sure he's really what he's saying here. He's not just a pretender. Dude, you can't really walk from the wheelchair right now, can you?
Oh, no.
Okay, I was just double checking. I wanted to make sure. No, Bubby, I've known this guy for 2.5 years. Never met a man with a more resilient spirit, good heart, loves Jesus, loves people. If anybody has earned it, he has earned it. And I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that this man walks again this year. We got it done once. It was only for 3 days. We're going to
200 steps.
Yes. Yeah, over 2,200
Over
steps
2,200 steps.
in 3 days, man. Going from nothing to 2,200 steps in 3 days. We're going to make sure this man can take this thing home. I need your help. Joshua needs your help. Understand this. Josh, stay on the screen because I want to talk to you on the other side. But understand this. Uncle Glenn loves you. Now, I might spank you occasionally, but I do it because I love you, and we need your help. Join me tomorrow when I have Robert Lego Man Morse going to be on. J6er. He's a great dude. He's got a foundation of his own, and we're going to chat about some cool stuff. But go right now. givesendgo.com/finishthis fight. Make a donation. I love you for it. Uncle Glenn loves you. I'll see you on the other side.
Forward, halt, left, 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 right, your left, 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 right. Down, 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 down.
Arkansas boy with a lifelong plan took the oath like his old man, then turned around proud and shook his hand. LA kid stood right behind, took a deep breath and signed on the line, while tears streamed from his mama's eyes. They hopped right up on that Greyhound bus, swapping stories. They laughed and cussed, and they talked about the girls that they loved. They made a pact, shined up their boots, got the call